Ainsley?
Thanks, Brian. Well, they stand to lose millions of dollars needed to keep their city safe, but Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel defending their lawsuit against the DOJ sanctuary cities policy. Now, other states like California and Massachusetts might take similar action as well. But is that a good move politically? Here to debate is Fox News contributor Richard Fowler and Independent Women's Voice President Heather Higgins. Thank you both for being with us.
Good to be here, Ainsley.
Thank
Good morning.
you.
Good morning, but after that intro, I think I should go back to bed and get some more sleep.
I agree.
I know. We need more sleep and more beer in our lives, right? Thanks, Brian. Let me start with you, Richard. As the Democrat on this panel, I want to ask you, what is going on in Chicago? Why does Rahm Emanuel, why is he supporting, it looks and it appears to many people, he's supporting the illegal criminal aliens that are in prison versus the people that vote for him or the people that live in his city?
Well, I think you have to sort of move the two out, right? So I think, one, Chicago has a violent crime problem, and I think that's different from the fact that there is undocumented individuals living in Chicago, right? And I think if you look at the Welcoming Cities part of the Welcoming Cities law in Chicago, what you find is that law says if there's a warrant out for your arrest in Chicago or you've committed a violent crime in Chicago, if you are arrested, you are reported to ICE and deporting procedures proceed as normal. With that being said, if you get a traffic ticket, or if you don't pay your child support, or if you shoplift from a Macy's in Chicago and you are found in violation of a crime, you aren't reported to ICE. And the reason for that has to do with the fact that in 2014 there was a federal case in Portland, Oregon, where a federal judge said it is unconstitutional for a legal immigrant to be held for 48 hours waiting for ICE. And so that is the basis for the city of Chicago and for Rahm saying that Chicago is a sanctuary city. And that is sort of where there is this sort of gray area, and that is where the debate is.
All right, Heather, how does that help the people that are paying taxes, that are here doing the right thing legally?
You've hit on a very important point, which is a lot of sanctuary cities is virtue signaling. Trump's executive order was virtue signaling to his team as well. The challenge is one of federalism. There are limitations on what the federal government can ask state and local governments to do, which is why Texas had to pass state laws to cooperate fully. What the sanctuary cities policy is that the Trump administration has issued does say, and is accurate on, is that it is inappropriate in these cities that have laws that preclude their people with penalties from cooperating with ICE, from doing so.
What's your opinion?
And well, basically it's smart. It's being like dealing with teenagers, right? You can tell them to do good things. You can't force them to do good things, but you still have the power of the purse to say, you can make really bad choices, but if you make those really bad choices, we don't have to pay for these other things. And what this ties into is that it's not just a crime issue. For most Americans who have economic challenges and see how difficult it is, they hear stories like the Parkland Hospital in Dallas with the just literally thousands of anchor babies a year coming in, getting delivery for free, prenatal services for free, all these other benefits for free, and they're not even American citizens, and they're really difficult to get this for anybody else. They're thinking of this as a larger economic issue. They're thinking of it not just as a crime issue. They're thinking, why are these cities protecting these folks? And it's politics. Right. Because if you look at where the Democratic vote projections come from, it comes from immigrants, particularly undocumented immigrants. That's why you have such a pushback on voter registration and making sure that people who are voting are legal to vote. That it's just part of the demographics of the strategy, and it's important.
So let me just make 2 points here. One, I think that you're going to find it's hard pressed to find illegal immigrants voting. And number two, we also think about the economic cost of keeping these individuals in jail. So if in Jeff Sessions' world, where you hold these individuals in jail, because for ICE to get them, it takes 48 hours. So from when you arrest an illegal immigrant, they have to remain in jail for 48 hours, which is 2 days, at the cost of $200 to $300 a day, that the state or the taxpayer in Chicago or in Los Angeles or in Dallas has to pick up.
This is why the president wants criminal illegal aliens to leave the country.
Yeah, but while they're leaving the country, the state has to pick that up.
So are you saying that if the federal government reimbursed the state for the cost of keeping them in?
But they're not doing that right now.
But if they were, you say that the Democrats would be fine with handing over everybody and asking people's undocumented status?
I mean, that's what's not. The problem the larger problem that we have is we have a patchwork of immigration laws from 1982 or 1983 that we're operating off of, which is problematic because we're living in 2017.
Well, we also have the various state rules and state laws, such as you have in San Francisco, that prevent cooperation.
Let's talk about one more other big topic this morning. There's this Democrat who is pro-life. His name is Paul Spence. He's running in Arkansas for the 2nd District, and you have all these pro-choice groups that are irate. They're furious with him. They're saying he's not allowed to be a Democrat. He can't be a Democrat if he's pro-life. What are your thoughts?
I have no problem with him running for his seat in Arkansas. I think the larger contextual problem here is there's very few pro-choice Republicans that are running, and I think there's
Isn't a little bit of diversity in each party good, though?
I agree that there's diversity in both parties. I think these debates are moot when you're like, oh, if you can't have a pro-choice Republican, you can't have a pro-life Democrat. Hey, it's...
Heather, what do you think?
We do have pro-choice Republicans, and I think part of the reason this is awkward for Democrats is that their pro-choice constituency is so vocal and so strong and such a part of their identity. But the problem with abortion is that in this country we have reduced it to two polarities. And in fact, if you look at the American people, there's a lot more nuance on the issue. When the Democrats say, you know, they're opposed to a pro-life candidate in any way, shape, or form, they're including people who might be in favor of abortion rights through, you know, the first semester or the first 2 trimesters, but they oppose partial birth abortion, or they oppose 3rd trimester abortion. There's a lot of nuance within where you come out on abortion. And that's an awkward discussion if you're a single issue group to have. And it's also awkward if you look at the demographics. Millennials are now much more pro-life than they used to be as babies become viable at earlier and earlier ages.
Because they are so special. All right, Heather, Richard, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have Nikki Haley coming up. We're going to